Let's bring in Congressman James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman Comer, every Monday we talk about the raid over the weekend. One happened on Friday. What is the biggest takeaway for you? That the FBI was asked to go in, the lawyers got a chance to stay and look?
Well, the biggest takeaway is I still don't believe the DOJ and FBI are taking this seriously. We learned initially they just took the president's personal attorney's word that there were no further documents. So at the very least, this should put to bed whether or not President Biden's attorneys either know actually the extent of his irresponsibility or they're not being truthful with the DOJ. Look, they need to take this very seriously. I think any premise where the president has spent any amount of time needs to be searched, and I wouldn't rule out searching anywhere where certain relatives of the Biden family, who we all know have been involved in the influence peddling schemes, I wouldn't rule out looking at their locations, because this is clearly a pattern. No one believes these documents were delivered to 5 or 6 different locations once they left the vice president's office. Something bad is going on here, and this is of the utmost importance for our national security.
So I was just asking Steve, I said, when he was a senator, what committee did he serve on? And he said Foreign Relations.
He was
I said,
chairman.
so what information does he have on those classified documents when he was a senator or when he was vice president? Is it anything that his son, who we know had access to the house, to the garage, to the Corvette that was next to the box with, classified information, anything in those classified documents that he could have used when he sat on the board of these different companies in different countries?
That's why we're investigating the Biden family for influence peddling. These countries aren't donating and wiring millions of dollars to Biden family interests just for charity. They're doing it because they want to get a return on their investment. And when we find out that classified documents are casually strewed all over the East Coast, then it's very concerning. So, I wouldn't rule out the president's brothers as well. And you go back to his time in the Senate. I mean, this has been a pattern that this family has been involved in for decades. And I just wonder what the White House's reaction would be if Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio were found to have in their possession classified documents. This is something that I think more Americans are starting to pay attention to. They realize there's a problem here, and they're confused as to why, in the first place, would Biden have these classified documents in his possession, much less scattered out in at least 5 different locations.
Well, apparently, according to the reporting of this, Congressman, they seized 6 classified documents and what they called the surrounding materials. It sounds like the contemporaneous notes that Joe Biden might have taken with him. So that's probably what all they wound up with this trip. But I'm curious about the negotiation between the White House lawyers and the Department of Justice, because they called them in and said, OK, let's have the FBI take a look through all the stuff. I wonder if the requirement was you can only look at stuff belonging to Joe Biden. You can only look at his papers. Hunter Biden lived in this house for a very long time. His stuff is off limits. And any devices, I'm curious if they looked at Joe Biden's devices there and Hunter Biden's devices there, and whether or not there was a separation between Joe's stuff and his family's stuff.
These are all great questions. These are questions that we're trying to determine answers to as we speak. As you reported earlier, we formally sent requests to the Secret Service about any communication or documents that would give us an idea of who actually had access to that house. We know the White House is going to stonewall every investigation by House Republicans, much less this investigation. So we're hopeful that the Secret Service will work with us. Look, this is not going to go away for Joe Biden. I think the press corps is getting frustrated because they're clearly not being honest. Yeah. And another thing that we're trying to verify, there was an article, I believe, in the New York Times that said when the initial batch of documents were found at the Biden Center, they didn't notify the DOJ. They just took them back to the National Archives, hoping that no one would find out about it. And if this is true, this is very concerning, because the Democrats and Joe Biden made a huge issue out of Trump's possession of classified documents. And then when they find they have some, are they trying to sweep it under the rug? I mean, this is a bad situation for Joe Biden in this White House.
I mean, the fact is they've had weeks to get ready in Rehoboth or University of Delaware or that other or his other beach house over the weekend, and they still found stuff. So what else is going on? There's also a picture on the Hunter Biden laptop of a box that said important pictures and documents on it. It said, yeah, important documents and photos seen in a picture on the laptop that everybody thought for a while was inauthentic, but we know now is very real. Congressman Comer, thanks so much. Or Chairman Comer, appreciate it.